Hey, good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. It is September 11th, I'm sure a day that we all remember and know, 2024. Time is 6:31, and we're starting our council meeting. Up first, we do have a Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll ask Councilman Guerrero to lead us in that, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Owens?
Father, we thank you for this opportunity. We thank you for those that have assembled. We thank you for this country. And let us not forget those that sacrificed and gave their lives for this country as we remember those who died and gave their lives on 9/11, 20 plus years ago. We thank you for their family and remember them as we lift them at this time as well. We thank you for the business that will be conducted on tonight. And we also remember our civility pledge, that we pledge to build a stronger and more prosperous community by advocating for civil engagement, respecting others and their viewpoints, and finding solutions for the betterment of our city. These things we pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Councilman Owens. Up next, approval of minutes. I got two sets of minutes. First is from our retreat back February 2023, 2024. Seems like a long time ago. 2024 seems like a long time ago. But and then we also have minutes from our council meeting August 14th, 2024.
Make a motion to approve minutes from the council retreat of February 23rd,
I'll second.
and also minutes from the council meeting August 14th.
I'll second.
All right, I've got a first and a second. Any corrections, deletions?
I didn't see any.
Okay, all right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Yeah, he's got it. Cool. All right. Up next, we've got some presentations. Very first presentations we've got tonight, something very special, unique, something I've never been a part of before, as part of being on council of this town. As you know, last week we had Chief Beach retire officially. He's been with Port Royal Police Department for over 40 years, been chief for over 10. Like I said, I haven't known Port Royal without Chief Beach, so this is new for all of us. We've gone through the process. Van, how many original applications did we get in? 35 original from all around the country, did a nationwide search. That's been narrowed down to 3 finalists that we have here tonight. We thank them for making themselves available. They've been here for the past 30 minutes, hanging out, asking questions, meeting with the public, interacting with them. And now we've got a chance to bring them up and just have a little introduction and let council talk to them for a minute, and we'll go from there. I'm just going on what's on the paper here. Up first, I've got Mr. Andre Massey. Come on down.
It's good evening, Mayor, council members, Van, Brooke, citizens and visitors of Port Royal. Thank you for coming.
Yes, sir. And I wanted to start, because we've all gotten resumes from these gentlemen and read all those, and I was gonna start off with something and then kind of let council ask questions after that too. I kind of want to just ask you to tell us about yourself, and what's not on that resume. What's not involved in law enforcement? What do you know? No family, children, what kind of
you're cooking?
what kind of guy are you? You know, just who is Andre Massey?
human side.
Not law enforcement side, yeah.
All right, I was born and raised in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm 56 years old, married with children. All my kids are grown, I got 5. I came here by way of the military. I was stationed on the air station in 1993. And from that point, I spent 12 years in the Marine Corps, and also spent 15 years in the Army Reserves as a drill sergeant. I started my law enforcement career right here in 1994 as a volunteer for the town of Port Royal. And through that time, 1998, I was offered a full-time job, which I accepted, and I've been here since. I've actually spent 29 years with the Port Royal Police Department. I've grown with this town, with the citizens, and I've actually become a part of this family. And like I say, all my kids, I got 11 grandchildren. Okay. I got 11 grandchildren. It's pretty much, my life is pretty boring, I would say, in a sense.
Hobbies.
I do love to barbecue.
Okay.
I love to cook. I have,
Brisket.
yes,
I
ma'am,
didn't say that, I'm
brisket.
sorry.
I have a toe behind grill. I don't do it for catering unless somebody asks. However, I do love to cook and I cook a lot. And I bring some into the police department, but they always say, well, you're only bringing us a little morsels. You want the whole thing. But I love working out. I'm a gym fanatic. I like going to the gym. Hadn't been able to go a lot lately due to a shoulder surgery. However, I will get back. Myself and the colonel and the former chief, we usually walk the entire downtown Port Royal, kind of getting familiar with there, seeing things, being able to talk to the citizens when they're walking by. I love cruising. Don't get to do it but once a year. Enjoy it and stuff. My wife, she's a crafter. Keeps me busy when I'm not here at work. I'm at home at work, so I don't have any much downtime. And that's pretty much the Andre Massey that they really don't get to see a whole lot of, is the honeydew Andre Massey.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much. Like I said, I'll open it up and
I got
answer any questions council's got for you. Yes, sir.
I'll ask one question. I'll ask each one the same question. Describe yourself with one word.
If I had to describe myself with one word, I would say I'm a leader. I'm a leader with 13 traits that was learned from the military, and I live by those traits. So I would classify myself as a leader.
Thank you.
I'll just pull from the list of questions that we had, and mine will be is, what is your vision of community policing, and how would you implement that strategy within our department?
Well, my vision of community policing is law enforcement officers getting out of their cars and interacting with the public. Creating that partnership and that relationship with the community so that you become our eyes and ears when we're not around. You're able to help, but we got to do that by building trust first. You got to be able to trust us. And I know with today's society and the way things have gone over the past couple of years with law enforcement, that's kind of hard to do. But I can assure you that the Port Royal Police Department is not that what you see on TV. We are very family oriented. We are very community oriented. And my vision is to be able to walk and know you by name. You know me and my officers by name.
Thank you.
And you don't mind strategic planning. Have you ever done strategic planning? And if you are, tell us, or did, please tell me how you did it. And what's your future, if you were elected, how would you do your strategic planning?
Well, first thing I would like to do is first of all, is get into that community, build that trust. Work with them, create that partnership. So, then I would start working on recruiting and retention. That's one of the biggest things that we have is recruiting and retention. Because of the way the society is, we're not able to get the applicants that we usually get. We usually have 5 to 10 applications come in. We don't get them as much anymore. So we have to get that visibility out there to show that we are that agency that you want to come and work with. We are the people that are out here for the citizens. Another thing is departmental development. Educating the officers, getting us better educated on the things that we have to know out there. So when we come to you, we're not saying that there's nothing we can do to help you. If it's something which is outside our means to where it's not a violation of the law, we should be able to direct you in a direction where you can get the assistance and the help you need, and not just say, I don't have anything to do. And final and last would be just basically just being a part of that community and staying with it. And stuff, hoping that, hey, guess what, one day we're gonna all be a part of one community.
Thank you.
Yeah, Massey, I'm glad you brought up recruiting and retention. Again, some of the reasons why we implemented some of the recent moratoriums are because we want to have a strategic plan as we know we're going to grow, right? And seeing that recruiting and retention isn't what it used to be, because I hear that from a lot of my law enforcement friends. What exactly would you envision our recruiting retention program look like if you had the opportunity to create it? Where would you go And what would that look like?
Well, I would get back into the military bases again. Like I say, I learned not too long ago about SkillBridge. We would actually start implementing into that. Also, we would get with the local colleges and stuff. They have criminal justice programs. Maybe start partnering up with them and getting them to start doing the ride-along program. We used to do it, we get it back up again. It still goes right now, that any college student that's going through criminal justice or any other curriculum can also come and ride along with us and see what we actually do. Also, for recruiting, I would actually go into social media because everybody's on social media. So we right now have a social media website that promotes recruiting and job applications and how to apply with the Port Royal Police Department. Word of mouth. Get officers out there because officers talk to each other in different agencies, and sometimes officers are just not happy at other agencies, and they want to come somewhere else. So we try to get it to where they feel that, hey, I want to come to Port Royal. Seems like the environment I want to be in. As far as retention is now at a point to where, also, I'm going to go back one. Another thing with recruiting is once we get an officer that applies with us that has experience, maybe start bringing them in at with rank instead of bringing them in at the ground level. We start bringing them in at maybe a corporal's level, a little bit more pay because they have the experience. They got 16, 17 years experience. So you can start them at the ground floor. They already have it. We need to bring them on in at a higher level. And retention practices is making more opportunities for our officers to get more education so that they can be more competitive for the different schoolings, different positions. One day they may want to be the chief of police, being able to make that possible for them, getting them the education through the FBI leaders, command college, National Academy, maybe implementing a program for our bilinguals that have that speak Spanish, because the actual demographics now are getting a lot of Hispanics. So having that officer that has that second language and able to talk to them will make things more easier for us to deal with. So maybe giving them a stipend, adding a little extra for them as far as retention, giving officers a little extra for the college degrees, saying, hey, you got a college degree? Let's add a little bit more to your rank, a little bit more, maybe 2%, 3% pay raise, and that's gonna keep people around a little bit more.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you very much. And like I said, we appreciate you so much for putting your name in the hat. Yes, sir. So,
Hey, thank y'all for having me here. I appreciate it.
thank you, Mr. Massey. Up next, we got Mr. Jeffrey Myers.
Hello,
Hey, how's it going?
Mayor, council members, city manager, assistant city manager, residents, fellow candidates, thank you for coming out today. Assuming you want me to tell what's
Yeah,
not
like
on
I
the
said, one,
resume?
just with the clapping, just on the council meeting, you need it for, we clap a lot. We have a
I'm
good
all for
time in these
applause,
council
feel
meetings.
free.
Like I said, I go to other ones and they're not always so happy with the board, so. Exactly, so.
And this is the norm.
But,
Yes.
yeah.
I've
so-
watched your council meetings for the last month or so, so
Okay,
I know what to
good.
expect, yes.
So, yeah, just kind of, just starting off with everybody, was that just, you know, you have a resume, we hear about history and school and where you've worked and all that kind of stuff, but kind of who's Jeffrey Myers as a man and what don't we know
Right.
by your resume, so.
Let's see, I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, big Cleveland Browns fan, so have mercy on me. I am divorced. I have a daughter who actually I'm flying out tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. back to Cleveland because she's getting married on Friday. It's been kind of a whirlwind, so I'm so glad to hear that the council meeting was tonight. Her dinner's tomorrow, she's getting married Friday. She's a pediatric oncology nurse at the Cleveland Clinic, so I'm very, very proud of her. I think you mentioned you had 11 grandkids. I'm jealous of that because I've been begging for grandkids. 55 years old. The reason I'm down here is I spent a lot of time growing up. My parents were taken to Hilton Head. Since then, spent time in Buford, and I just love this area. I spent most of my career in the Cleveland area. It's very gray, very dark, very cold. My parents moved down to Florida in 2000, so I knew that area. I retired from the Cleveland area, and deputy police chief's job opened up for the city of Fort Myers. It's a pretty large city, fast growing, a lot of growing pains that you guys are seeing right now. About 80,000 people, 260 sworn officers, 110 civilians, police budget about $55 million. So I took that position. I retired from there about, actually, I think it was a year ago last month. I spent 6.5 years as a deputy police chief. Found out that I'm just too young to retire. I'm 55 years old. I started a business that is up and running down in Florida. I am a consultant for a national company on police best practices and policies and procedures. And I love pickleball. You live in Florida, you've got to play pickleball. So if anybody wants to play pickleball, I'm your guy. I have an English bulldog who's at the kennel, and I get to watch her on camera, so I'm anxious to get back to her on Saturday and see her. I think it'll be a little mirror or window into me.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir, Mr. Myers. Yeah, this time I'll open it up to council.
My question is going to be the same to that, and it's really to describe yourself just using one word.
Transparent. I believe in transparency, not only because it's the buzzword of law enforcement today. I've kind of lived my life like that. What you see is what you get. So many things, so many problems and troubles are because of lack of transparency, lack of communication, misunderstandings. As people and policemen and law enforcement, we screw up. We make mistakes. There's no doubt about it. Law enforcement is a tough profession. There's a lot of gray area. You can't write a law. You can't write a policy for every type of situation. That's really one thing I learned too as a consultant. A lot of chiefs will call me and say, well, you violated that policy. Well, maybe your policy's wrong. Maybe, it's just a gray area. You can't do it for everything. So why I say transparent is the public needs to know what is going on. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? And if it didn't work, what do you do to change it? So really, I believe in asking these questions, and you should be able to ask the officers questions. You should be able to ask everybody questions. And we should have an answer. And if we can't, we're going to get back to you. We're going to get you that answer.
Beaufort County, as in Fort Lauderdale, also is among the fastest growing in the county and the state. My question is the same question I asked earlier. What is your vision of community policing, and how would you implement that strategy within our department?
Community policing is policing today. You can't do proper policing without it. You have to build that trust. Like the gentleman said there, you have to get out of the police cars. The days of rolling up the windows and leaving the air conditioning on, that doesn't work. You got to get out. You got to meet the people. Up in Fort Myers, I can give you an example. All the clergy are very big in Florida. So everybody had my personal cell phone number. Residents would have my personal cell phone number. They could call me at any time because I go back to communication. If they see an officer doing something and they don't quite know why, they have to have somebody to call to ask. Otherwise, if things spread, rumors get spread or whatever, discontent, you have to make sure that you can answer questions to people. A good police officer should know all the business owners. They should know the leaders. They should get out of the cars and walk around the city. They should be in schools like the SRO programs. Community policing, I believe officers should live in the city. I lived in Fort Myers and I was a police chief there. I think that's very important. I would try to encourage officers to live in the city because you have to be part of the community. Obviously, property values and things like that, that doesn't always work out, but you try to make that possible any way you can. And Fort Myers Council was very generous. They gave a $500 a month housing stipend. So that recruited a lot of officers back into the city. We started a pathway to policing programs. We had officers going into high schools as early as 10th grade, getting kids interested in police work. We'd bring them in, do the ride-alongs, tour the stations, bring them out to process crime scenes, things like that. And it really worked because we got diversified candidates from the community now wanting to be police officers. And that is community policing. They're part of the community. So I think community policing is really in its name itself. It's being part of the community. And it can't just be the chief going out there talking to all the council people, talking to the merchants, things like that. It has to be the officers. It has to be the crossing guards. It has to be everybody that's in the law enforcement agency. Thank you.
Strategic plans, have you ever done a strategic plan? And if you have, can you tell us a little bit about it and how you would implement something like that if you were to be the chief of Florida? How would you do
I'm sad to say I have done strategic plans. They're very boring, they're not exciting. But in Fort Myers, we did, they're very, very important. You can't succeed without a strategic plan. And the real important thing about strategic plans is you can't just write them, and I see where a lot of cities fail, is they write them and they never go back to them. You have to make sure that you review the strategic plan constantly and say, okay, what have we done to reach this goal? What's working, what's not working, what do we still need to do? What I have done in my experience is we've done a 3, 5, and 10-year strategic plan. We worked with the city first. The basic theme of our strategic plan was safe and livable neighborhoods. So that was the goal of it, and we developed our strategic plan from that. We formed the cities first, and then we went back, and then actually I was in charge of it. Chief designated me, and we developed a 3 and 5-year plan also for the police department. That was then published on our website. We did interviews with the local media about it, and it was very attainable for everybody to see. And then we were held accountable to it. We made sure, you know, the city manager would come to us, okay, this is your strategic plan. What have you done to reach those goals that you set for yourself? We're also a CLIA accredited agency through National CLIA, so they require that you hit the high points of all strategic planning also and show real life examples of what you have done to reach those goals. And sometimes you need to, and actually we did quite a bit, especially with the city, is readjust the strategic plan. Okay, we thought we were going to achieve this in 5 years. It's not going to happen. Let's push it out to 10 years. So it's really important not just to write it, but you have to live it, and you have to make sure you update it.
Thank you.
So, again, I appreciate you taking the time and reviewing kind of where we're going and some of those growing pains that we're going to start to see as we grow. I think that's inevitable for most townships, that we just got to go there. And another thing is, again, my question is going to be focused around recruiting and retention and your willingness to communicate about a kind of pseudo explorer program, right? To recognize
Yes.
that our schools are our best and most captive audiences because they see what we do every day. They see really how we're working, and they're kind of our best asset. But with that being said, what does your plan look like for recruiting and retention? So being shorthanded puts us at a disadvantage at any point, right? More so in law enforcement, you can appreciate that. And although I have the greatest trust in our police department, when we're running them ragged and we're putting them away, we're riding them hard, putting them away wet, you know, and they come back, I think that gets difficult for them. And then it puts us in a predicament that as a town we don't want to be in. What does that look like for you, and how do we create that program and then sustain that?
Mm-hmm. That is probably the toughest thing in law enforcement right now as a leader, is nobody wants to be a policeman anymore. Very few. And it's unfortunate. We need to change that. In Fort Myers, when I got there, we had 175 officers. Within 6 years, we're up to 253. A lot of it 260. We were able to recruit that many officers without lowering any standards. We didn't change anything. And the way we did that was, I already mentioned once with the schools. We went all the way to 10th grade, started the Pathways of Policing, so we're getting people from the community. As the gentleman said too, word of mouth. Our officers are the best recruiting tool you can have. We reach out to all our officers, develop career paths, make them happy so they want to stay at the department. Retention. You invest a lot of money in your officers. You want them to stay. You want them to be happy. And once they are happy and they buy in to your plan, your strategic plan, and where they see you going in the next couple of years, they're going to tell their friends. Police, we like to talk. We like to have people that we think will make good officers come to our department. Our officers were our best recruiters. They would go out and tell friends. They'd tell friends. They'd come in and want to apply to our department. Social media was fantastic. I would have my PIO riding along with officers constantly and say, okay, this is Officer Jane Doe, and this is what she's doing today, and show the human being side of them. And we got a lot of responses from that. And we'd get people calling, say, I was on your Facebook page and I saw that you're also did this. I didn't realize that that's what a policeman does. How can I find more information about it? You've got a great resource here with the military bases. That's fantastic. You're hitting those hard. The schools, the colleges, the trade schools. There's a lot of opportunity for recruitment, but you have to have a department that people want to come to. We're all fighting for a very small pool of candidates. And you don't want the officer that's going to go strictly for the highest salary, because you may go, you're making a good buck. What do we all do? Once you start making more money, you start spending more money. So eventually that's going to wear out. It can't always be about the bottom line. It's got to be an agency where people want to work. So you have to make an agency first that people want to come to, get them in here, You get them to stay, get the word of mouth out that Fort Royal, boy, they got it together. That's where I want to work, that's where I'm going to be happy. That's where I'm going to spend my next 25 years. And that's kind of what we did in Fort Myers. It worked, and I don't see why it can't work here. You've already got a great department, great reputation, and people should want to come here to work and to
Thank
stay.
you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Myers.
Thank you.
Up next, Mr. Kevin Pierce. Good evening. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Good evening, citizens. It's
sir.
tough being last. You stole all my thunder.
I know, so I just kind of, I went off the way they had them listed here, so. But yeah, we were just saying, if you could, just kind of start off and kind of let us know, who Mr. Pierce is. What don't we know from the resume?
Okay. My name is Kevin Pierce. I was born and raised in the city of Philadelphia. My first job was delivering newspapers. Why does that have anything to do with law enforcement? Because in the 2 years that I was a paper boy, starting at age 12, I was robbed 4 times. Twice at knife point, twice at gunpoint. Finally, the money was always so little that the police didn't do much about it. But finally, the last time I was robbed, I had a little bit more money that was taken, so the police put me in their police car, took me around the city to look for the guy who did it. We found him. He was arrested. We went through the whole criminal justice system. But riding around in that police car, they say, this is what I want to do for a living. So, unfortunately, not unfortunately, I did not do it in the city of Philadelphia. I became a Pennsylvania state trooper. I was a state trooper for 21 years in the state of Pennsylvania. After I retired, I became chief of police of a small town, much like Port Royal. And just retired from there 2 weeks ago because my wife was itching to move to South Carolina. So that's what brings me here. Other than law enforcement, I'm an educator. I am a professor at Wilmington University in Wilmington, Delaware, where I teach criminal justice. I also taught at a technical institute where I taught crime scene investigation, CSI. My wife and I were business owners. We only sold our business, but if you're familiar with Philadelphia, one of the great things about Philadelphia is it's not just soft pretzels, but you guys are familiar with Rita's Italian Ice? You know they originated in Philadelphia? Originated in Philadelphia with a firefighter who was selling water ice off his porch. And it grew to, we ended up having 9 locations, and after we sold sold off all of our locations, that's when we decided we were going to move down to Hilton Head. So the other claim to fame that I rest my hat on is I'm a professional vocalist. And when I was in the state police, they called me the singing trooper. And the governor, the governor of Pennsylvania and the governor and the Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner would send me all over the state to sing the national anthem. And 2 great things in our state is the Little League World Series. So I got to sing the national anthem for the Little League World Series. And we also had the Pocono Raceway, so I sang the national anthem twice for NASCAR. So if you ever need a national anthem singer,
All right, yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Pierce. I'll just open it up and let the council's questions for you.
All right, I'll just jump in there. My question is pretty easy. Describe yourself using 1 word.
I would say integrity. Something you have to have, no matter what your profession is. I went to high school at Valley Forge Military Academy, and our motto was, "A cadet shall not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do." And that's what I lived by for most of my life. So I try my best to be honest, live a godly life. And I'm not saying I don't make mistakes. Everybody's making mistakes. Who hasn't? Anybody? Okay. So I think integrity is important to have, especially as a leader, because you have to set an example and show your men or show your team, men and women, that you are a person of integrity, and that it makes it easier for me to expect that from them if I display it myself.
Very good, thank you.
What is your vision of community policing, and how would you implement that strategy for our department?
It's going to be hard to answer that question without repeating what my predecessors just said.
Outside the
but
box, there you go.
one of the things that I enjoyed about my career in police work is after spending 21 years at the state police, where you don't get the opportunity to necessarily meet all your residents because you've got such a wide jurisdiction and you get moved around a lot. You don't get to get to know the residents. But when I became chief of police of a small town, South Coatesville, Pennsylvania, that was one of my priorities. And that was one of the things I absolutely loved about the job. Getting out of the car, getting to know people, getting to know the businesses, getting to know the pastors, and organizing community events. Generally, it was the town manager or the town council that organized events sometimes, but I organized events all the time. Like a trunk or treat, for example. We did trunk or treat, and the council wanted to know how I got such a big turnout when they didn't get as big of a turnout for their community day. I said, maybe it's because it comes from the police department, I don't know. But that was always important to me, getting out to know the people and interacting with people.
Strategic plan. Have you ever done a strategic plan? And if elected, or appointed, what, and how would you bring Port Royal off of this new strategic plan?
I have done a strategic plan, and like my predecessor said, they're very boring, but they're a necessity. One of the important first things you have to do for a strategic plan is an assessment to figure out what it is you need. What are your goals? What are the goals for our police department? Is it to reduce crime? Is it to increase our presence? Whatever it is, that's all got to be a part of that plan. And the plan that I created addressed all those things. Do we reach all the goals? Not usually. Sometimes it takes a while, just like you said. But we always have a written plan about where we want to be next year, where we want to be 2 years from now, 3 years from now, and tweak it, update it, see what's working, what's not working. In the Pennsylvania State Police, we had something we called problem-specific policing, PSP. They like that acronym for obvious reasons, Pennsylvania State Police. And part of that process was studying our problem areas and knowing what was needed. And back in the old days, these guys probably don't remember pen maps, but when I started, we were still using pen maps. That was before computers were around. But you put a pen where everywhere you had a map of your jurisdiction on the wall. If you had a DUI, we put a black pen on it. If we had a bad accident, we put a green pen. If we had domestic or shooting or something like that, we put a red pen. And we study that map and figure out where we need to focus our patrol efforts, our enforcement efforts. Now that's done electronically. Most major cities now, you can actually go to their website, Philadelphia Police, Chicago Police, and they have it on there, and it's electronic, and they don't use pens. They actually use little icons. Where there's burglaries, they put a little house. If there's a shooting, they put a little gun. And so when you decide you want to move in Philadelphia, you know where not to go. So that's kind of the idea that we do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce. My question is about recruiting retention. Again, just kind of like I told Mr. Myers, we're in our officers down. I mean, it's just what it is. We trust that they can keep up. We do. And it's just, there's got to be some give there. How do we do that? What does it look like to you? And the implementation of that.
Recruitment and retention is a big problem now for law enforcement. Like he said, nobody wants to be a cop anymore. It used to be a job where people would line up, especially in the state police. They would line up like crazy. The applications have dropped significantly. And the quality of the candidates that we're getting have dropped. So I also believe, just like these gentlemen said before me, got to start early. One thing that we did in the state police is we would have a camp program, a summer camp program, police camp, if you will, and it introduced kids to police work. They were spending a week at camp. They still do the fun camp things like go swimming, play archery, and all that kind of stuff. We had a little military, and I was a drill instructor for that. Not the Marine stuff. My drill instructor came from a military school. But anyway, we had a camp, and in that camp, during that week, they would have a visit from the FBI, they would have a visit from the Secret Service, a visit from the ATF, a bomb squad, K-9 unit, just to show them all the different aspects of policing so that they know it's not just riding around in a police car writing speeding tickets. There's other things that you can do. So we start very young. That camp starts at age 11. And I've been involved in that camp for just about my entire state police career, and I just finished my last camp 3 weeks ago. So that's one of the things. The other one is what my predecessors already mentioned. If we have the manpower, we should have a designated recruiting officer. I don't know what the manpower situation is for Port Royal, but a recruiting officer would be responsible for going to schools, going to colleges and universities, reaching out on the website, social media, all those avenues to try to recruit good candidates. And it's also important, and our predecessor said this too, I'm sorry for repeating, you stole my thunder, but if you have a police department that's desirable, everyone say, hey, it's a great police department, I'd like to work for them. One of the ways you can do that, if the police department itself has a great social media presence, that helps. And I started that in my department. I had the guys didn't have a Facebook page, didn't have an Instagram page. I said, well, we should. And with that, we did get people saying, do you do ride-alongs? Yeah, we do ride-alongs. Come on. We'll let you do ride-along. And that piques the interest of people wanting to join our department. So that's just one of the avenues, one of the many.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pierce, for being here and joining us tonight.
Thank you, sir.
So again, we just wanted to do that. We think it's important, of course, do that openly and in the public's eye and see who the three finalists are. Ultimately, the decision does come down to staff. I do not envy them for this. We've got three very qualified candidates. So I'm sure they'll deliberate with them, and we'll have a chief of police very soon. So again, thank you, gentlemen, very much for your willingness to serve the town. We really appreciate it. It means a lot. So thank y'all. All right. Rolling along. Up next, we've got a presentation from Riverview School Director, Mr. Singleton.
Right.
Devontae Singleton.
Thank you. Good. Good evening, Mayor Phillips, council members, residents of Port Royal. My name is Devontae Singleton, and I am the proud new school director of Riverview Charter School. It is an absolute honor. Thank you. Thank you. It is an absolute honor to be here tonight to introduce myself as well as to represent our school community. I just wanted to come up tonight just to express our deep gratitude for the ongoing partnership that we have with the town of Port Royal. First, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to this city, our city administrator, as well as this council whose support has been instrumental in helping us to operate smoothly. Your assistance, particularly in coordinating with town police patrol to manage traffic on Savannah Highway, has been invaluable. This effort has made a significant difference for our students, their families, and our staff, allowing everyone to safely enter and leave our school campus each day. We cannot thank you enough for recognizing the importance of this and ensuring the safety of our school community. Side note, it does my heart very well to hear that the three finalists who are up for police chief have all mentioned the importance of being visible in our schools. So that makes me very excited to hear. Additionally, I want to recognize the Port Royal Fire Department for going above and beyond to make our first day of school extra special. As you know, we kind of had a rough start due to Tropical Storm Debbie, but we were able to have a great opening of the school year. Their presence not only welcomed our scholars back in a positive way, but also contributed to their learning by those firemen taking their time to show our students how to properly install and remove our state and national flags each day. This meaningful interaction not only highlights the town's commitment to education and community, but they also instilled that partnership that we are longing to make sure that we have, something that's truly appreciative of our part. As the school director, I am committed to continuing this strong partnership between Riverview Charter School and the town of Port Royal. We are so fortunate to have a town that values education, and I look forward to maintaining open lines of that communication as well as collaboration. My goal is to ensure that Riverview remains a good partner to this community, so please know that we are always willing to assist the town in any way that we can. As we continue to grow our partnership and relationship, I invite each of you to get more engaged with Riverview. We have several upcoming events, including our annual Stingray Scramble fundraiser that's going to be in a couple weeks, as well as the Buford Twilight Run in early spring. Your presence and partnership at these events would mean a great deal to our school community, and I would love to have each of you as our special honored guests. In addition, I would like to personally invite each of you to visit Riverview when your schedule permits. As you all have, as the candidates have stated and you all state as well, it is important that our school students know and see the visible representatives that represent this great town, but also so that they can know what opportunities lie for them once they graduate as well. I will also leave extra copies of my business card for your convenience if anyone would like to get in contact with me. But in closing, I just want to reaffirm my personal commitment to fostering a strong and lasting partnership with this township. Together, I am confident that we will continue to make a profound impact on the lives of our students and the future of our community, because at the end of the day, we want to be able to not only educate great citizens, but produce even better citizens who will continue to give back to the town of Port Royal. Thank you all for your trust and support, and I'm certainly looking forward to this continued partnership. Thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Singleton, if you could, real quick, did you, anybody, any questions?
Sure.
Come on, this is
Please.
exciting.
I'm excited.
Do we have SRO
Yes.
at Riverview? Do you have a school resource officer?
We actually hire an external security officer. We are hoping that the SRO grant program will be refunded and that we will be able to get an SRO. But
Cool.
yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I just want to say, from the Town of Port Royal, we're here to support you.
Thank you.
There is nothing more valuable to a community than its children. You know, our success is intertwined with theirs. I mean, they literally, figuratively, and literally are the future. So, we all know that, and so we're here again to support you. So thank you.
Thank you.
I will tell you, everyone I talk to that has children at Riverview, I hear nothing but great things about Riverview and the community. It has a great reputation, and we're very proud that it's in the town of Port Royal, along with some other of our charter schools. We've got some
Absolutely.
great charter schools here. So, again, I just want you to know, thank you for coming here and introducing yourself. That means so much too. So, again, just remember, we're here to support y'all. Anything you
Absolutely.
need, anything those kids need, you let us know.
We
Okay?
certainly will. I'll leave some business.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay. Up next, ladies of the Low Country.
We're going to have to reschedule.
We will have to reschedule that. So, X-nay on that. So, again, thank you to the finalists, and thank you to Mr. Singleton as well, too, for being here. Moving on in town business, we've got our council briefing.
In the interest of time, the only thing, one thing I really wanted to cover is that we do know now that the Casablanca West Vine traffic counts and speeds did meet the SED DOT criteria. We have forwarded them for review, so hopefully we'll get approval. Blythe has our approved design for the town-owned road, so we'll be moving forward with those speed bumps as well. So other than that, I'll answer any questions, but I know we have a lot of public comment.
Yep. When we're looking at those speed bumps, has there been any look at Drayton?
That is one we're going to substitute in place because we know Lenora, it didn't qualify, but we know Drayton is a straight shot. And so we suggested that we use that one as the next opportunity to
run you right off.
Slow folks down.
Oh, yeah. And full disclosure, I live on Drayton Drive, and so I hear from, it's the cut through from Battery Creek to Rebo to get to the bridge, so.
Right.
I can't go home without my neighbors going, no sidewalk, we can't get a speed bump here, so that's why. But I do live on Drayton Drive, full disclosure, but like I said, my neighbors beat me up every day over there about a speed bump on Drayton Drive, so I told them I'd mention it, so.
And you did.
So, okay, and public comment, I think some of the things that were talked about, we're getting to in the council action, which I think is exciting. for them.
Anything that's on the agenda.
Okay, all right, then up next, we've got public comment. This will be for comments for agenda items. I do have a good little stack here. I'll start with the order I've got them. I would ask before we get started, please try to be thoughtful of the 3-minute time limit. It's just one of those things to kind of be respectful of everyone's time, help us move together in an orderly fashion. So just be thoughtful and cognizant of that. It will beep, and it's very loud if it goes to 3 minutes. So just be thoughtful of that. Up first, we've got Mr. Bennett McNeil.
So hard to understand and then follow because of that.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Mayor and council members, hopefully I'll sound better than I did last time, but I hope so. My family owns a 7-acre tract of land at the intersection of Highway 21 and Wrights Point Lane. It is zoned T4 NCO. We've owned the land, or it has owned us, since the mid-90s. At the Port Royal September 4th City Council Workshop, many views were expressed by the neighbors and citizens of Port Royal against having conditional personal storage facilities, I'll call them PSFs, in T4 NCOs. A couple of the comments, I'm paraphrasing, I hope I didn't get them wrong, really made an impression on me. The first was a suggestion that PSFs belong in industrial parks. The second comment was that PSF was not a good place to socialize with our neighbors. Again, I'm paraphrasing. I hope I got the basics of it. Basically, that a coffee shop is more desirable. To those two comments, I would ask, do we really want to force our neighbors, many will visit their storage units multiple times per week, to drive to an industrial park miles away? And on the second comment about PSFs versus coffee shops, when did it become a contest? Why can't we have both in our neighborhood? Also, a cup of coffee is a want. Storage is a need. Our neighbors can make a cup of coffee at their home or apartment. They can't make additional storage space. P.S. I love coffee shops too. The coffee shop needs to be visible. The PSF can be hidden or built with interesting architecture, with good landscaping, whatever this council desires, or people desire. My other thought about last Wednesday's workshop was how 7 to 10 neighbors, I'm guessing, all of the speakers but me, were for prohibiting PSFs and T4 NCOs. It's already conditional use, giving Port Royal ultimate control over location and appearance, I think. Noah could expand on that. He could go into detail on that. First, I want to say, and if I can either finish, it'll take me another minute or so. I can let my wife finish, but anyway,
If you just can wrap it up, yes, sir.
yeah, okay, thank
Gotcha,
you.
I
I'll
understand.
try to go a little faster.
Yes, sir.
First, I want to say Rebecca Bass, who I love. We fight from time to time, and the other speakers are articulate, smart, focused, and well-intentioned. Very important, well-intentioned. And when they oppose you, it's not much fun. I'm guessing the majority of them and the majority of the people in this room own their own homes, many with garages with adequate square footage to store their extra possessions. But many of our neighbors in small houses and apartments don't have that extra space of luxury. They are trying to hang on to their grandparents' dining room table and chairs until they have a dining room or great room in which to use it. They need extra space for clothes, toys, a beach tent, Halloween and Christmas decorations, sports equipment, and much more. I was asked, where are the neighbors in favor of PSF and T4 NCO? My guess is they don't know about these meetings. Many don't know where City Hall is. Many are working multiple jobs, stressed trying to pay their mortgage or rent, car payments, gas, groceries, child care, and more. We have to be here for them. Again, I don't believe anyone in this room is intentionally trying to hurt anyone. I think this quality of life issue hasn't been thought through. Our neighbors' lives would be easier with neighborhood storage. In closing, I believe a small, gated, secure, safe PSF can exist in T4 NCO. It can be hidden or designed to have an interesting appearance. I'm asking that the final reading of the tax code change prohibiting PSFs and T4 NCOs be tabled 120 days until I can bring code modifications, including site layout, location, design, elevation, exhibits to this council. I will keep Noah in the loop and seek his input.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Up next, Miss Amy McNeil. Okay, gotcha. All right, up next, Michael Murphy.
Good evening. My name is Michael Murphy. I live on Ladies Island, and I'm the town of Port Royal's arborist. So the native diversity of tree species in any forest setting is a very important component to ensure total forest health. If invasive trees ever begin to overrun these forests, the programs are rapidly instituted to control these invasives. Uninvasive tree species should not be singled out and put on a hit list where they can be indiscriminately removed or alternatively not be protected along with other trees in our urban forest. The predominant tree in the town of Port Royal is the laurel oak. The predominant tree in the entire low country, if you take away all the pine plantations, is the laurel oak. The unwarranted perceived risks that are wrongly associated with this singular tree species by unqualified contractors is a huge cloud of misinformation that can be very difficult to see through. Now, I'm not going to stand up here and do a Father Flanagan on you tonight and tell you that there's no such thing as a bad tree. Of course there's things as bad trees, but this ordinance that we've fine-tuned over the past couple of months defines diseased trees. This ordinance defines healthy trees, physically and structurally compromised trees where there are no mitigating pruning procedures available to bring the tree to an acceptable level of risk will be allowed to be removed and will actually be encouraged to be removed. Our low country urban forest canopy should be protected and maintained as a canopy and as the forest that it is by using our knowledge of what a healthy and what a diseased trees are, and to remove the diseased trees, but not just one tree species. Because why species? The species should never even be a part of the equation. Outside of invasive species, good or bad trees should only be assessed by structural or physical defects present and the arboricultural processes available for the mitigation of any defects. It's impossible to maintain any tree risk-free. Some level of risk must be accepted to experience the benefits that trees provide. In assessing and managing trees, tree owners and managers should attempt to strike a balance between the risks that a tree poses and the benefits that individuals and communities derive from these trees. This is one of the key elements that the Port Royal Tree Ordinance is striving to retain. I ask you tonight to allow this ordinance to protect the town of Port Royal's total tree canopy and agree with the advisory committee's recommendations to allow our primary indigenous trees to remain within the protections that are recommended. Thank you.
Thank you. Look at that. 9 seconds to spare. We appreciate it. Next, Mr. Grant McClure.
Hello, my name is Grant McClure. I work for the Coastal Conservation League, and our office is at 1212 King Street in Beaufort. I also live in Pigeon Point in Beaufort. I want to thank the town for thinking through these code updates thoughtfully, and I believe that we've come to a really good place with these code updates. I'm optimistic that the code changes will help to alleviate some of the administrative challenges that we were running up against. And I want to thank staff, Noah and Brooke, for actually sitting down with Michael and the Conservation League and working through some of those challenges. And so I think we're in a good place, and I think we all know how iconic Port Royal's trees are and how important it is to preserve not only mature trees, but an array of different species, as Michael just discussed. And so I believe that these code changes are in a good space, that we've got a strong tree ordinance that is actually able to be administered efficiently and will help to preserve mature trees and a diversity of them for the benefit of everybody in the town. So thank you very much for your time and consideration, and hopeful that these changes will go forward. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg. Up next, Mr. Warren Hunter.
All right, so we're talking now about the
Storage.
storage units, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I don't want to repeat what I did last week, but by my count, there's at least 10 storage units between Paris Island Gateway, or Paris Avenue,
Yes, sir.
up to Grover Hill Road and down Savannah Highway. With all respect to Mr. Bennett, I don't know that we need any more storage units. I think people do need places to store things, but I don't know if we need more. The comprehensive plan, I don't think additional storage units would be in concert with several of the points in the comprehensive plan, which I mentioned last week. And mostly, I think more storage units would not be in concert with being cool and coastal and far from ordinary.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Okay. Up next, Mr. Bryson Turner.
Thank you, Mayor and
Yes, sir.
Council. I've been up here 2 other times and spoke to this issue, and I appreciate y'all's support from earlier votes. What I would like to say is that, my biggest point had to do with the neighborhood open land and the opportunity of those particular land and for the community. And I moved here, moved into our new house, adjacent to some of the T4 neighborhood. And being a son of a pack rat, we had 4 storage units. And we had ample opportunity to find storage in this town. And 4 big, as we built and had to store everything. So from my perspective, if you've got this much storage, and we talked about all the units, most, humidity or non-humidity, you have every option in the world. I just can't understand why we would want to use our open land to put more storage units in an area that has great opportunity to bring the community together and further the cool coastal from ordinary speed. And Mr. McNeil, I've not met him. I know he serves as a board on some of these neighborhoods too, and I respect his opinion completely. But from my standpoint, I think there's better use for that land for the community, and I'd like to see it, negated.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Up next, Ms. Rebecca Bass.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I won't spend a lot of time telling you about how much I love Port Royal or why we made this our forever home.
Is it only Ms. Bass tonight, or are you multiple people?
No, I'm one personality.
Okay,
No more,
gotcha. All right,
no
just
multiple
checking.
personalities.
Okay.
Thank you for asking. But, so I think you all know how I feel and why I'm here. And I definitely would like to thank all of the members of council and the mayor, and actually Noah as well, for your unanimous support of the text amendment to eliminate storage facilities as a permitted use in the T4 Neighborhood Center open designation. As stated in your comprehensive plan, which I have read and was not bored by it, this is a small and delicate place, and its evolution needs to be carefully considered so that the balance and harmony that make it special is not lost to ubiquitous, quote, could be anywhereness. With vacant land, as Mr. Turner said, we have the potential to create something great in Port Royal that complements the natural beauty and preserves the character of our built environment. I think it's fair to say there's nothing that says anywhereness like storage units, and our request for this text amendment is not directed at Mr. McNeil personally, or any single property for that matter. We believe that there are already sufficient storage units in the greater Port Royal area available to the folks that are described in Mr. Bennett's comments earlier. As we pointed out at earlier meetings, we need to decide if becoming the storage capital of the Low Country fits the comprehensive plan. And every decision that comes before this council should be tested against the comprehensive plan, or frankly, there's no point in having published a comprehensive plan. Thank you very much. And let the record show I've got a minute 20.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, just pocket it, put it in the bank. All right. Up next, we got Ms. Smith. Hilton. Mr. Smith, I apologize.
That's okay. Thank you for your time tonight, everybody. I'm actually going to speak on two different agenda items that affect me and my business. I'm from Charleston, but I've been building in the Beaufort-Port Royal area since 2008. I'm down here once a week religiously for my family's business. So two different ordinances that are being discussed tonight affect us. One of which is the tree ordinance. I will tell you we've got property that the current ordinance certainly has impacted and made rather undevelopable. The tree mitigation costs went up 5-6 times at least on all those properties. For instance, right now we have a property that we're trying to buy that's a lot in Pinckney Retreat. The current tree mitigation cost on this lot would be $53,000 to build a house. And these are magnolia trees that are between 6 and 17-inch caliber trees. When the lots were developed, they were not significant trees, but 20 years later, that's what's happened. Under the new ordinance, and thank you for the town for all their efforts on it, the current mitigation, if based on what I understood in my brief analysis, would be $3,750. Significantly less, still something that will make you think about taking trees down. But again, we're talking no trees that are more than, most of them are 12, 13-inch trees. The largest is a 17-inch magnolia. So I think that I really would appreciate the passing of the ordinance. I think it would be very helpful for people who are just trying to build a house on a lot they've owned for a long time. I don't own it yet, but I'm not going to buy it with $53,000 tree mitigation. So thank you for your consideration of that. Also regarding the storage, I've got properties that I have bought and built homes on that are right next to T4 neighborhood open space. Storage units by what I would hope would be homes that are, $600,000-$700,000 homes. I think we can all imagine properties like that should have a buffer of some sort from a storage unit, if there even is a storage unit available on that property. And I think that those T4 neighborhood center open properties typically are on very public, viewable corridors. And I think that, when you're driving through Port Royal, there's a lot nicer things that we could be looking at, even that have been planned to be on those properties that are nicer. But now that the dollars make sense for storage, everybody's flocking to it. And all it takes is the dollars changing. Millennials, they don't have as much stuff as their parents used to have. Boomers, they're moving into smaller places because they can't have big homes, and all this stuff is just ended up out there. So I think that what you're going to find is storage units might be really popular now, but I think you're going to find the market's going to change. The property that is storage units has 1, 2, 3 people working on it, and there are these huge places. I don't think it's what the town would best serve in a neighborhood zoning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Okay, we got two more. Up next, Mr. David Strange.
Mayor, Council, nice to be back with you again. So in review, a number of people here have spoken about the comprehensive plan that exists in the town. I happen to have served for the better part of 2 years as a member of the advisory committee in writing and rewriting that plan. The opening section that's really introductory to the plan is entitled Port Royal's Opportunity. It's subtitled A Place of Balance and Harmony. I just want to read an excerpt from it. The plan considers that growth is desired and inevitable, but must be accomplished in ways that support the town's vision of traditional town planning, environmental harmony, and access and fairness for its citizens. This harmony is to be accomplished by the application of tried and true urban planning principles and channeling development toward that land that is the most suitable for it based on economic, cultural, social, and environmental principles. That was a guiding statement that was incorporated very intentionally into the comprehensive plan. And to me, that principle, that guidance, does not comport whatsoever with anything that's called neighborhood. To be suitable, to be compatible with storage units. What we envisioned for this area, for anything that borders the neighborhood or runs alongside of the main corridors within the town of Port Royal, which announce the town to people driving those roads, would be service, retail, restaurants, business opportunities, medical facilities, and certainly residential. This is what neighborhood zone should encompass. And so I encourage you, I would almost plead with you to make this change to the status of this particular zone so that we don't put any more of this kind of unit in an area that is not appropriate for that use. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Take it.
Okay, we got one more last, but surely not least, Mr. Stephen Jones.
Actually, I wanted to just get on the list, and I didn't realize there was this neighborhood that was going to be not an agenda item, I guess.
Okay, so you're good right now?
I'm good for
All right, I'll check back in at the end. Okay. All right, well, there was public comment. Thank you all so much for being here, and thank you for, saying your piece. That's an important part of this, so thank you very much. We got a very engaged citizenry here in Port Royal, and I'm thankful for it. So, first reading, 2024-14, an ordinance to amend Chapter 20 trees of the Code of Ordinance of the Town of Port Royal, South Carolina. I'll just say really quick about that. We've been talking about this for a long time, gone back and forth. I hear the concerns that were made tonight. I will say, though, we made a lot of compromises, and with compromises, you sometimes don't get everything you want, and you get what the bill that we got. I think we have a very strong tree ordinance, I believe the strongest in the state. And I can tell you when I talk to these council members, they're very proud of it. But I also tell you this council's very committed to reviewing it, where this is not being written in stone. Will be able to be reviewed, examined, see if it's working, if it needs to be changed, if it needs to be, tightened, relaxed, or anything like that. I can tell you that this council's all said that. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion for 2024-14.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, any discussions, comments, suggestions?
No, sir.
Okay, again, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for all the work that went into this. It's been a big thing, and we've done it in a very transparent way, and it's something we're all proud of up here. So with that in mind, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it. First reading on the tree ordinance. We got there. All right, second reading. 2024-15, an ordinance to authorize town manager to convey excess real property to facilitate construction of sidewalks within the town described as Beaufort County Tax District 110, map 10, parcel 0074. better known as 1202 15th Street and 15th Street. Again, this is a good thing. We love seeing people expanding sidewalks. The goal ultimately is to have the village be completely connected and walkable. So anytime we have a partner in building sidewalks, we welcome that. So I'll entertain a motion that we approve 2024-15.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, up next, second reading on 2024-16, an ordinance to remove personal storage facilities from the list of permitted uses in the T4 Neighborhood Center Open Zoning District. This to say, just to kind of clarify for everyone out there that's not familiar with the issue, what we are talking about is removing storage units from this particular zoning. This is not about a particular property, it's not about a particular area. It is about the zoning of T4 Neighborhood Center Open, removing personal storage units from that. That does not mean that you cannot, storage units are still a usage that's allowed within the town under other zonings, other zones. We have commissions, boards and commissions that people can go to request variances, to have things changed if they do wish to go forward. So this does not remove storage facilities from the town of Port Royal, it just pulls it out of this neighborhood center open. So I just wanted to make that clear to everyone. Saying all that, at this time I'll entertain a motion to approve 2024-16.
Motion pass ordinance to remove personal storage facilities from the list of permitted uses of the T4 Neighborhood Center Open Zoning District.
Okay, get a second?
Second.
Okay, any comments, discussions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you, unanimously pass. Okay, up next, council action, Sands Beach Task Force. There you go, right? So as you know, we held interviews last week, and we had a executive session to discuss that personnel. And just to be, so everyone's aware, I know it's Sands Beach Park Task Force, but really we're discussing the road, the land along the side of Sands Beach Road heading down to that. So we're excited about that. I think there's a lot of opportunity to create just a beautiful space and more places for people to enjoy Port Royal. So hearing that, I think we're all in agreement. I make a motion that we approve Barbara Berry, Charles Russo, Dean Moss, Harriet Witt, Janet Shelley, Robert Landrum, and Tricia Fidrick for the Sands Beach Park Task Force.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. And we've got a task force. That's 7 people, 7 applied. That keeps it easy. It's perfect. Thank you very much for everyone that signed up. Again, it's something that we don't have we're not a hard deadline on this when we want to get this park done and all that. It's just something we want to start that conversation and see where this can lead as we see more growth and development in the town. So up next, we do have something. I think the gentleman in the front might be interested about approval of the Second Street Sidewalk Construction Contract.
Yeah, what you have is a schematic of the layout for one particular side adjacent to the Alano building. What you're approving is the contract for that work. And in the amount of $106,258, and work is scheduled to start this week.
And this will put how many designated parking spots in front of?
12.
12? And it will have a sidewalk?
12.
And parking on the sidewalks are illegal?
Yes.
Look at that. Looks great. So 12 spots. That's awesome. So,
And then you've got additional parking along Paris Avenue.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
got parking right there. You've got 12 spots right there, not in somebody's front yard, but in the front of the Alana right there.
Yeah.
it's great. Looks good. Okay. So right now, we're just approving the contract to get that started.
Yes, sir.
I move that we approve the awarding of the contract for the 12th Street sidewalk construction.
Second.
All right. Any discussions, comments?
I see how work could potentially start September the 9th.
Back. Yeah, we got it.
The week of September the 9th. So we can get rolling on that pretty quick.
Right.
Tomorrow.
They can't start working until you approve the contract.
I gotcha. That week of that changes.
2 more days.
Okay. All right. Well, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Nice job. Way to go.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. And up next, approval of the Casablanca Park Playground.
You gotta go back up one. Go back up one.
Oh, my bad. I'm just getting excited. Approval of the design of the Paris Avenue Streetscapes Improvement CDBG Grant Project. This was before Waters was here last week talking about this portion of this project with us. We gave some input. They had been getting input, and they kind of brought this final product to us. We all think it's very exciting. You got this really high tabletop right there across where the wetlands are. A lot of safety features. So
This is basically the first phase of.
First phase
Paris
of it.
Avenue redo.
Looks good.
If I'm in order, I'd like to entertain, I'd like to make a motion, enter a motion that we approve this first phase of the design of the Paris Avenue Streetscape Improvement CDBG Grant Project.
Second.
Any comments, concerns, questions?
I think it's-
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all right, that's exciting.
That's very exciting.
And here we go, approval, the Casablanca Park Playground. It's something we've been talking about, we've heard from the community over there, and we've started to look at how do we amp that up a little bit? This is what come down on, any?
Correct. Yeah, we just need an approval for an expenditure up to $48,000 for the playground equipment, including installation.
Great.
This-
And right, oh, go ahead, sorry.
This does not remove the existing set, right? This is just an addition to?
No, it's removal as well.
It's removal as well? Okay,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
This is bigger than what's currently there, and then of course new
I
ones.
see two slides, yes, definitely. It's just-
I like
That's
the
right.
color, the color scheme.
What is the surface?
It's a kind of a rubberized mulch.
So it's not the one that just gets scattered all over the place?
Well, it'll get scattered.
Oh,
but,
so it's not malted?
Right, it's
molded.
playground approved for
Okay.
an ADA compliant.
Okay.
I think it was great.
I do too.
I know the residents will be happy, and that's why I just tickled to death.
That's out.
Move that we approve the Casablanca playground.
Second.
Second.
Everybody's second.
Any suggestions, any comments? Hearing,
What would the cost entail to have like a rubber, I mean, the molded, because I think there's a cost for these chips because they get scattered eventually and so forth with the rain.
Yeah,
and-
it all has to be, we'd have to go back and reprove that again.
Yeah.
So if we can hold off a month or you want, or we can go ahead and approve it.
I would be interested in a cost, you know, I'm doing several playgrounds now also, but, you know, I'm just not a fan of those rubber mulches because as I said, the kids get in there, they scatter and they're all over the place and we get a lot of rain and water, they're gonna be all out of it. So it's gonna require more maintenance. We may pay a little more for something that is, not necessarily turf, but you know, the one that's already molded, a surface.
Like the one that's at the 16th Street playground?
We have that, because on my playgrounds also, we have the rubberized one that's like rubber matting and so forth. Because as I said, it may be a little more, but to have these chips, kids will pick them up, they'll eat them, they'll throw them, and when you get a lot of rain, they're washed out. And so that's gonna require maintenance as well. So, I don't see the rush, I think is a good gesture and a good idea. But, you know, if we're gonna do this also, I would prefer that, you know, we just explore what the
We can get
cost
price.
difference would be.
well, I was gonna ask then, can we, just to get that ball moving, because I agree with you, just to get that ball moving, can we approve, you said it was, because it was just up to $48,000.
You could adjust it to up to 50.
We could just adjust and say up to 50, and then if that's not enough, then they come back.
Okay.
But that kind of gives y'all
If
the
it's more-
permission to just get going.
Okay, well, yeah, let's.
'Cause I think I love that
let's
idea.
change the motion then, that, giving them the orders to, if you
Change
don't
it to
mind,
50,000.
amending that motion to up to 50,000 with the exploration of, I don't know. what it called.
Rubberized mat.
Rubberized mat.
Or turf, whichever is more economic, I mean, reasonable, other than that chip stuff.
Mr. Mayor, if it's in order.
Yes.
I'd like to amend my motion to approve the Casablanca Park Playground up to $50,000 with the exploration of cost for rubberized mat or turf,
Right.
whatever stays within the budget.
We'll leave that up to council, right? Okay.
Perfect. Can I get a second?
I mean, to town.
Second.
To staff. To staff.
Any comments, suggestions, or anything? Nope, I think that was a great input by Councilman Owens, like you said, because that, the new park, like you said, it does have, it's kind of piece that stays on it, not keeps coming and going. So, great input. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, all right. Casablanca's getting on par.
Yes.
It's awesome. Okay, up next, we've got important dates. Redevelopment Commission meeting September 17th at 4:30. Saturday, September 21st is our last of the Fall Street concert series. The first three have been amazing. Thank you to everyone that's been to them. We got one more of the season. And then we roll right into Saturday, September 28th, Oktoberfest. Always a good time. And then Short-Term Rental Task Force, of course, meets every Thursday. So they'll be meeting tomorrow here at Town Hall. Hopefully, I think they're supposed to have an update for us next council meeting next month. Okay. Any other dates, corrections, anyone want to add? Anything you'll see? Okay.
That's true.
All right. Up next, public comment for non-agenda items. Mr. Stephen Jones, did you want to talk now?
Yes. First, I'd like to thank the council members and everyone for the efforts on what's going on with 12th Street. One of the questions I have in looking at this map and what's going to go on, are they going to be making parking spaces on the lawn of the building where they have AA? It looks like they've designated parking spaces for them to pull into the lawn and park here. And these areas, are these parking spaces here along the sidewalk going into the building?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, 3.
I don't understand why they need to park on the lawn in that way. I mean, it's not a business neighborhood, it's a residential neighborhood. And the whole way that Port Royal is set up is that overflow parking is supposed to be on Paris Avenue. And many of the people that go there do park there. But the others just pull in there hodgepodge all over the place. And it just caused a lot of problems there.
There are a lot of people that park in their lawns along that road, aren't they?
Well, and that's the issue is
Yeah.
that's the right of way. If people are allowed to park on the right of way, unless we want to make a change across the town of Port Royal and say no one can park. And a lot of people put cars in that, right in that first part of, 10th Street, 11th Street, 12th Street. There always people
Yeah,
park
there are
right
some
there.
parking spaces there, and it seems like that those areas should be set aside for handicap parking, and everybody else. I mean, it's not even a 100-yard walk from Paris Avenue to there. It creates a problem. I mean, the church on 11th Street, all of the members all park on Paris Avenue on Sundays, and they walk to church. And it doesn't create a problem. My brother lives on 11th Street. They've got no problems with the people from the church parking on the street. One or two people have to do it because they are elderly or handicapped, and they need to be close to the door. But the other people all park out on Paris Avenue. So I'm willing to take a look and see how this goes. I appreciate the effort.
Yes,
And
sir.
I really do appreciate it.
Thank you
very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Up next, we've got Mrs. Shirley Hayward.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Good evening, everyone. I don't have a complaint. I have a request. Several years ago, Port Royal had a project called Port Royal Pride, and since then, it has been discontinued. And it was a great program because it assisted businesses in enhancing the exterior of their buildings and their landscaping of their properties. So I'm here to ask council if there is any way that they can implement or come up with an idea to have something like that again, because businesses at this point struggling. We would like to at least make our outside of the building and the landscape look better, but, you know, financially, things are a little tight. So, I'm just asking council if they would look at a program, similar to the Port Royal Pride. It was a grant program for businesses.
When did it stop?
I think it was discontinued because of lack of interest. I don't think.
Lack
a lot-
of interest.
All right, well.
That was my understanding. It was discontinued because you didn't have the applicants.
Oh, okay.
That was my understanding. I could be
Well, is
wrong, but
there
we can,
any way to let them know that they do have some?
I'm sure we could some, but I think it wasn't,
We had
it wasn't anything that
last
we,
Funding cycle, we had 2 applicants
two applicants.
for probably
Well.
8 potential fundings.
I benefited from it at a couple of times.
I remember,
And then at one time, another time I called and they told me that.
I think another project was Sea Island Apartments out there, that living fence that was planted out there. And I don't think there was a lot of other interest in it.
No.
It was my recollection. I'm just putting it out there.
And then you repurposed the redevelopment commission because they were the ones that were administering the program, which
Right.
really wasn't within their purview.
So, well,
So it could be case by case basically?
Yeah, so I mean, it sounds like it's still there,
So
right?
case-
Could we get it started?
is it still there?
It's not in this budget cycle. You'd have to look for the next budget cycle.
Okay.
The next,
Or
which
next
is
fiscal
next
year.
year?
And perhaps case by
Yeah,
case.
there's no money earmarked in the budget for that this year.
Gotcha. So we'd have to, next budget cycle, open it back up.
Oh, okay. That's 2025.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So,
I'll do that.
Definitely something we can get on our radar. That's no doubt about that. We want to.
and once we get it out there, we gotta spread the word that we gotta have people use it. We get, when, get the word out there, so we'll do that, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, Ms.
Thank you.
Hayward, yes, ma'am.
Good time.
Perfect. Okay. Public comment. Okay, up next, I've got council comment. I'll start on my right this time, Councilman Guerrero.
No, just thanks to everybody with all the agenda items, kind of went through a lot tonight. Thanks to our finalists for our police chief kind of role, so that's always interesting. That's, you know, a first for most, well, not all of us, I think, but at least for me and Mary. But I'll just remind everybody, if you don't mind, tonight, 23 years ago, it was a pretty significant day in our lives, and it changed some of us. It made us grow up pretty quick. You know, we live in a military community, and those remnants and those scars are around us every day. I ask of you to say an extra prayer for some of my brothers and sisters that are still in harm's way, and some of them that, you know, saw too much of a burden to be here, right? It's okay to not be okay. It really is. And when we talk about it in public and we help each other appreciate that, we're a better community for it, and we deserve that about each other. Right, so whenever you think that it's too much to ask somebody if they're okay, please rethink that. Ask them if they're okay. Again, our community's becoming great about it. We've done and taken several steps here on Paris Avenue alone, so we can help our brothers and sisters and sons and daughters understand and appreciate that. That was one of the first things that I got to experience when I came on this council, and I appreciate you guys for that, moving with our AMVETS partners and making that happen. That means the world to us. So I ask you to please pray for them and keep them in your thoughts. And again, it wasn't for naught. We all have a mission, and we're Americans together, and that's what binds us. And spirited debate here is always great, which makes local governance awesome, that we can clap for one another and respect each other's opinions. So especially on a day like today, where democracy happens right in front of us every day, and for those of us that are privileged to sit in front of you and represent that of our town, it's the greatest. It'll be a privilege of a lifetime, at least for me. So thank you so much again for what you continue to do. Thank you guys for as veteran-friendly as you are, a living death. And tonight, again, please, if you don't mind, just an extra prayer. Just kind of throw it out there for us. We're in this together.
Wow, please don't ask me to follow him.
We're just going down the road.
Oh, my gosh. Brother, are you okay? We're proud of you. Proud of all our service people, all our rescue people, because 9/11 took a lot. It wasn't just servicemen, but it was our rescue people too. So, and we all had people that it touched, and you know, it's like Councilman Guerrero said, it's important that we remember those people because they fought for us. They were all out there at any corner waiting to help any of us. And so we just want to keep that prayer going for the families of those people. And thank you all for being here tonight. I think it was a large crowd. We got to meet 3 wonderful candidates. Van does have a hard thing here to figure out. And once again, thank you.
Councilman Ashmore.
My turn? I gotta follow all that.
Right.
And I'm gonna, my comments will be brief, but I was talking to my wife this morning, and we talked about 9/11, and you look back on it and all that, and I realized, my girls weren't even born then. So there's a lot of people who didn't have a clue what happened. And I think everybody in here remembers that pretty vividly and probably remembers where you were. So I challenge each one of you in this room and each person that you come in contact with to remember September the 12th and how we all came together on September the 12th. We were kind to each other. We were helpful to each other. We looked out for each other, and we saw the good in everything, especially after the horrific events of 9/11, how that brought us together as a country and as a human race. Keep that in mind.
Wow. Just to follow up after each of these comments, and I think they've said it all. And not only what they said, just to look across the audience here to see the outpouring and the participation and the people that's coming in here just to be a part of what's going on here in Port Royal speaks volume. It speaks volume about how united we are as a community in wanting what's in the best interest of the community. So I commend you all and thank you all as well. We talked about the military. We are a military town. And we have also, even at the fire department, the police department, we have the retired flag box there. So, of course, if you know of anyone, of course, that perhaps a loved one may have deceased and want to properly dispose of their flag, we have that there. Every Thursday between 4 and 6 o'clock at the AMVET, there's dinner there. Go support our AMVETs. And then also, we have a lot of people that's, having some challenging time that's in need. We have the help that's still trying to come together and open and so forth. So let's remember those organizations as well, so that we can, give of ourselves in support of our military and those that are in need. And thank you all again for your coming and supporting us.
Thank you, sir. All right. Thank you all very much for everybody being here. Again, I can't, everything council members just said. We're very blessed to live where we live in this country, in this state, and in this town. We had a great meeting tonight. As you saw, we don't always agree, but, we do it, I think, pretty well here in Port Royal. So if it's okay with you all, though, I would let's just take a moment of silence and just for the 9/11 victims, and then we'll close out with that, if that's okay. So. Okay. Thank you all very much, and at that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.